Hi, good morning everyone. It's another deep dive video and I actually wanted to do this video. I was super inspired to do it last night, but I was also very tired. And so I was like, you know what, I'll do it first thing in the morning. I put up a post last night in my story about that you can't learn to be fireproof unless you walk through the fire. And that's not my own analogy. I was listening to a talk, and so I kind of gleaned that out of it and paraphrased it. And she was actually talking about parenting and children and how we have this thing where we want to try and steer them away from pain and help them avoid pain. And in doing so, we never sort of strengthen them. We never give them the opportunity to find out how fireproof they are. And that our job as parents is not to continuously be putting out the fires and steering them away from the fires, but it's to walk with them through the fire so that they have some support and guidance as they learn their own strength. And that's all really great. And I think that in a lot of conversations that I have with mothers, and being one myself, there's certainly a whole video and conversation around that and how we think we're doing the right thing by trying to shelter them, but did we really? And anyway, but what struck me most about it is the fact that a couple things, right? The analogy of fire, I think, or the metaphor of fire, I think is a really great concept, because fires will burn you and scar you and can leave you completely dilapidated for a long time, and healing for a long time. And those areas, even after they heal, can be still really highly sensitive to the touch and everything, right? So if we think about this walking through fire and the wounds that it creates, and how it so literally is also the same thing as the emotional wounds. They can last for a few seconds, or it can scar you for life, and you can be sensitive and be triggered in that same point forever, maybe, right? I think also the reality of the situation is that we do that to ourselves, which she was talking about us doing for our children. We do that for ourselves because of that fact, right? Because getting burned hurts. And so how often do we see a fire around something or with something or about something, and we put that fire out? We do whatever we can as quickly as possible to smother it, right? Or we get away from it and jump back from it as quickly as possible. And just like real fire, these emotional fires are the same thing. We do that out of a survival mechanism, out of a fear of what might happen to us. But we have to remember that fire has a purpose, and fire gives us warmth, and fire gives us light where there's darkness. And, fire cooks the meat, and that's not going to go over real well with my vegetarian and vegan friends. But there's use to it, there's purpose, and it's not all bad, right? Fire is that place that gives us coziness and warmth, and that we all gather around. It's a central draw to us, and we can't avoid it forever, and it's not all bad. And so again, how do you learn that you are untouchable, that you are bigger than all these things that we see as danger or fear or a challenge in our lives if we move away from them. And how many times do we misinterpret that fire for something that's actually going to help to nourish us and give us warmth and dry us when we're soaking wet and give us light, right? It's a really, really interesting metaphor, and I think it speaks volumes, and I think it's the right one. And, you know, I go to this point where when I was reflecting on all this last night, and I was thinking, I don't know why I don't remember this more often and why I don't hold on to it more often. But I did a fire walk, and not like a Tony Robbins drink the Kool-Aid kind of fire walk. It was a true spiritual exercise. And, you know, if nothing else, it proved to me that I could literally be fireproof. I mean, there were points on that bed of fire and coals that I walked on that were 1,600 degrees. And I didn't have a burn. I didn't have a blister. Was I scared? Absolutely. But there was also something in me that said, if this shit is real, then I'll be okay. And so why do so many of us so often forget this in life? If this shit was really real, then how do I come out okay? Right? I mean, if all this stuff we're trying to do to heal ourselves and grow ourselves and make ourselves better and implement these spiritual practices, if that shit's not real, then why are you going to go walk on a fire, right? But if it is real, then you should be able to walk through that with confidence. And why do I forget that I have that power to conjure that up so often? Why do I get into that situation that is extremely hot, possibly explosive, and dangerous, right? And yet I will run away from it or put it out. And we all do that. So maybe today, think about that. I'd love to hear, how are you putting them out? Where are you putting them out in your life? Is it a relationship? Is it with work? Is it with your voice? God, we qualter our own voices so much. Is it, with people you work with? Is it your family? Is it dreams that you're afraid of? What are these fires that you are running from or putting out? I'd love to hear that. Also, as always, direct message me if you don't feel like sharing this publicly. And I would love to hear what other videos you would like to have me deep dive into. All right, everyone, have a great day.